Hello everyone. My dog's with me as always. They might be making a little bit of noise, but how is everyone doing today? The new moon happens where I am anyways, right after midnight. So this is pretty much, we're getting really close there. Oh, yeah, here's my cat too. They're always here to join us. Yeah, so it's a new moon. It's a new moon in Capricorn, which is exciting. If you're following along, you might be like, what the hell? It's a new moon in Aquarius. But actually, I practice something called true sidereal astrology, also known as constellational astrology. And so by that we go by the actual stars in the sky. I won't belabor the point too terribly much right now. If you're familiar with my channel, you probably know what this is about. And if not, hey, check out my website, truesidereal.com. But today we're just going to dive into things a little bit. The format thus far, this makes a month of doing this. And I thank you, all of you who have been checking in every week. It's been an absolute pleasure. The format so far has been talking about the astrology, a little bit of tarot, and then a little bit of meditation. But this time I'm going to mix it up a little bit for those who might not want all the chit-chat and just want to get to the sort of meditation energy working sort of portion of things. And so for that reason, we're going to start with that tonight. So I saw a picture. I'll put credit down below when I figure out who it was, but I saw a picture on Instagram today that it was an illustration of this person with a rainbow in her hands, and it just like sparked something in me. And then later I also saw this other thing that was sort of about color healing, right? And it was super cool and just like ricocheted off this idea of a rainbow. Let me just get my cat in my lap here. This is Tushy. You've seen him, but now just take a quick little moment to meet him. Okay, Tushy, you go here. Also known as Fritzl. All right, let's get into things. So, I'm going to talk about the astrology after. I'm just going to try and dive into sort of more of the intuitive part to start with. As always, we start with getting comfortable, right? So whatever it is you need to do, if you just take a moment, to move your body a little bit. Just get our neck moving. See what our range of motion is. That feels nice. Let's get our shoulders crunching up. Reach your arms up. Take some deep breaths. Whatever you need in this moment, no matter what I'm like saying, I'm just sort of repeating what it is that I'm feeling like doing. But this is really just to take a moment to settle into your body, to check in with where you are, how you're feeling, all right? And like move in any way that your body's asking you to move in. I used to do like yoga and on occasion, against my will, Pilates with my mom. And on days where I just like didn't have it in me, I would lay on the ground and call it my natural breathing. And this is still something that like I think about fairly often. So if like that's just the space you're in a natural breathing kind of space, that's fine too. just like get into whatever position your body is asking you to get into. Take whatever breaths your body is wanting from you at this time. Take a big deep breath. Feel it expanding in your chest. See if you can make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Make whatever ugly noises you want to make on the way out. You know, to activate our throat chakras here a little bit. Get that life force energy into our lungs. Make some spaciousness through our ribcage. Pretend, close your eyes and imagine you're some sort of a monster. Just shake it up. Just get silly with it, you know? This is fitting because the thing I want to do today a little bit is removing resistance, and like just being a silly goofball can get you into a bit more of a like play state where it's easier to just like flow a little bit, you know? Oh, this is fun. Okay. Put your fingers together, try this. My dog's getting in on it. Did you hear that? He's making like little groaning noises. All right. So we're gonna get into the flow. Okay. I want you to take your hands. Yes. Oh, this one's turned out to be goofy, which is like slightly antithetical to like a Capricorn moon, but there's still a lot of Sag. So I digress. Take your hands, rub them together. Feel that heat, feel that energy. Boys, shush. Feel that heat and energy starting to wake up in your hands as you take a deep breath. You know, as always, we should probably start with just like grounding down a little bit. Ground down into the ground. Feel the base of your spine ground down into the ground. Hey! They're taking my advice too seriously. Okay, so we ground down deeply into the earth. Feel our root lock into the magnetic force of the earth. Feel this energy rise up. From our root up into the bowl of our pelvis. Up into our rib cage, up into our chest. Flowing through our throat. Going higher, up into our third eye, into the crown, and extending beyond us. And as we push this energy up, now feel the twist. Like the DNA ladder, like an intertwining. As the energy goes up, now it begins to come down as well. You're locked into the earth, you're grounded, and now suddenly you have access to this energy stream coming from above you, and you can feel it drawing into your body. There's energy pulsing down from up above the cosmos, and there's energy pulsing up from the ground, from Mother Earth. Feel it twining within you, feel it purifying everything in your body. feel it casting light into any little shadow spaces, any little dusty corners that needs to be illuminated at this time. Feel it purifying your body of everything that is not yours to hold, everything that does not actually belong to you, everything that you've picked up from somewhere else, from the environments you're in, from the anything that you've been interfacing with, people that you've been with, conversations you've had, any of it is really easy, especially for intuitive folks. And I'm guessing if you're watching this or paying attention to what I'm up to, you probably qualify as an intuitive folk. So it's really easy for us to be sponges, right? We wander around and pick stuff up. And before we really know that we're doing that, it can become very, very easy to just like accept this and download all of these things that we pick up into our system that aren't actually ours, you know. But if we don't know that, it can be confusing and overwhelming. You know, a lot of extremely, extremely intuitive people, before they really realize that this is a situation that they're having, can have like a lot of sort of free-floating anxiety, right? So just take this moment to release anything that isn't actually yours. Right? Get a little bit of guards up. Feel a barrier, a magical barrier around yourself, right? And this twisting, twining energy that's coming up from the earth and down from up above is purifying this, and it's pushing it out till it is outside of your little magical barrier. What does your magical barrier look like? What color is it? What color makes you feel safe? Now let's take 3 big, deep cleansing breaths to gather up. On the inhale, we'll gather up all of the little pieces that don't actually belong to us. And on the exhale, we will push them out till they are outside of our magical barrier, okay? Starting now. Push them out, push them out, push them out, push them out. Breathe in. Gather them all up. Gather them up as much as possible and hold them at the top of your breath. And breathe out, push them out. And one more time, any of it that's left. Gather it up, gather it up, gather it up. Hold it and push it out. So now you have this nice clean space where everything inside is you. All right. So rub your hands together and start to feel the heat and energy rising. Rub them together. And if you pull them apart a little bit, can you feel that energetic in between? Okay. Now we're going to put our hands together and we're going to keep rubbing them together. And when we pull them apart, we're going to pull out a little rainbow. We're going to imagine a little rainbow between our palms, okay? What does that feel like? Can you feel it? If you can't feel it, tell yourself, say out loud, turn up the rainbow. Turn up the rainbow times 10. And if you can feel that, say thank you, I feel that. It's a way of dialoguing with your body and your intuition system to keep it going, keeping the dialogue open, right? So we've got this adorable little rainbow in our hands, and we've got this sort of energy vortex moving through us. Now, as we sit and we hold this energetic, I want you to think of a wish. Okay, I want you to think of something that it is that you want that feels like the gold at the end of the rainbow. I want you to hold that in your heart for a second here. And while you're holding it in your heart, I want you to surround it. I want you to hold it in a place of joy and optimism. Like, hey, maybe this could happen. You're holding the rainbow right in your hands. Maybe you could, maybe you could get there, you know, that gold could be yours. What is it that's your little gold at the end of the rainbow? Now, I want you to keep holding this energy, keep holding this energetic, and even keep holding this joy in your heart. There's a little bit of space that we can use like up in our mind, right? That doesn't mess with our energetic channels that we have open and holding. Now, this space in your mind, I want you to think of all of the little things, or maybe even seemingly big things, all of the obstacles, all of the barriers, all of the restrictions that you believe make it that you can't get here, that you can't get that gold at the end of the rainbow. Okay, all of the little thoughts in your head where you think you're like dreaming too big, or you're being too audacious, or, you know, any of the little thoughts that will tell you like this isn't ever gonna happen, or it couldn't possibly, right? Now, as you think this, if you've managed to hold this energetic, I wonder, what do these like tiny little thoughts feel like beside the energy moving through your body right now? Does it feel big? Does it feel insurmountable? Or does it actually feel like kind of a little bit small? Insignificant? Now, I want you to dip your forehead with any of these thoughts of restrictions and just, you know, stumbling blocks perhaps that you have thought of that make you feel like, oh no, I couldn't, oh no, it's too big, oh no, no way, there's no way I'll get to the end of the rainbow. I want you to take your little forehead and just dip it into your rainbow. And feel your rainbow just like zapping right through that little mind space of yours. Healing all of these barriers and walls with the entire spectrum of light. Purifying them. And instead replacing them with little pockets of inspiration. You don't have to access that inspiration right now. Just take your time to feel these light spectrums zapping right through you. When you're ready, sit back up, but keep a hold of the rainbow. Now, how does this like space in your forehead and your mind feel now? Is it lighter? Is it brighter? I get lots of tingles. That's how my own system lets me know personally, but you know, there's no wrong way. Whatever you feel is fine, is right, is perfect, okay? Now, is there anywhere else you feel like you could use this rainbow? Okay, and if there is, move it to that space now. Like for me, I feel like I can use it on my neck and through my throat. All right, turn up the rainbow times 10. during this time, you can do like whatever it is that you want with the rainbow. If you're not sure where to put it, just like keep holding it in your hands, keep holding that energetic, and close your eyes and just do some deep breathing. And as you do your deep breathing, as you put your rainbow anywhere you want, anywhere that feels good, just know that this spectrum is coming into your body to open the channels for inspiration. You don't need to know what that is or what that looks like yet. Just stay open to it throughout this week. I'm just going to give you a little bit more time. Take your time. As you hold this rainbow, feel the tension in your body dissolving. Dissolving through your breath, through this spectrum of light that may be springing between your hands but is running throughout your entire body, anchored into the earth, anchored into the cosmos, as above, so below. When you are ready, I want you to take your hands, put them together, form your rainbow into a ball, and then just place the rainbow in your heart space. Thank you, rainbow. Open yourself. Say it out loud, perhaps. Open, like, I am open to the downloads of inspiration. I am open to all of the things standing in my way actually dissolving. I am open to believing that that I don't have to struggle in order to get what it is that I want. I'm open to all resistance deteriorating. This wish. Now go back to this wish. Go back to this gold at the end of the rainbow. Hold it in your heart. Feel it in your heart space. Now imagine your magical barrier. And now you invite this wish in. You invite this pot of gold to come into your rainbow. Bring it in. It is invited into the magical barrier. It can come in. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to struggle upstream at it. You can hold it in a space of joy and draw it towards you. You feel that? Okay. That was fun. All right, let me see. I'm going to talk about the astrology a little bit now. It's a Capricorn new moon. I'm just going to pull my chart up here. Take a little bit of a look. So much is in Sagittarius right now. Pluto's still activated, but it's interesting. We've got this like, okay, so I'm sorry, I'm taking a minute to just sort of take this in, but Venus just flipped back into direct motion recently, and it's making, you know, there is a, what's the word I'm thinking of here? There is a concept that exists in more traditional astrology of malefics and benefics. And, you know, it's really sort of been done away with in modern astrology because, you know, there's good and bad sides to all of the planets, and there's a lot of nuance that can be found, which is true, but blah, blah, blah. There is still, like, something to this traditional concept of malefics and benefics. And, like, the benefics are known to bring, like, good things and sweetness and joy into your life, right? So the classic benefics are Venus, which just went direct again, and Jupiter. And so we've got Venus and Jupiter here in a harmonious sextile aspect, which is also, okay, so Venus makes a like nice little harmonious aspect over to Jupiter, which makes a nice little harmonious aspect over to Uranus, which completes it with another even more harmonious aspect, right? So Uranus is like a little bit of an awakener. It can bring in new information and new insight. I always think of it sort of as like the antenna. Like it can be really quite psychic in a clairsentient way of just like knowing things, you know? And you know, so we've got the two greater benefics coming into this nice harmonious aspect with each other, also in harmonious aspect with Uranus. And this is part of why I really wanted to do this, just sort of like energetic healing to open ourselves up to inspiration, right? Because it's out there. We've got capacity to reach out and to just like reach out and grab it a little bit. Like Venus in its like earthy sort of form, I always kind of associate with the Garden of Eden a little bit, and this idea that like actually we have everything that we need here on Earth, you know? And Jupiter is very lucky. It is lucky, and it is optimistic, and it is always trying to like expand its mind, right? And this is also the ruler of Sagittarius. We've got a huge stellium in Sagittarius right now. So this is really like if we allow ourselves to be open to the inspiration that's all around us, and specifically like open to inspiration that will make things easier, that will make our like heart's desires and our like desire, our grand aspirations easier and closer, it's there, it exists. So let's just open our minds up to it and allow that sort of thinking to flow to us at this time. You know, Capricorn, which is where the new moon is at the moment, you know, and we also have it like quite close to Saturn as well. Saturn is often very much associated with, you know, it's our structure, and it's also, it can very much be our like limitations, right? So I really liked this idea of, instead of like seeing our limitations as limitations, just like expanding into softness a little bit and into this like grander worldview vision that like maybe all of these barriers that we imagine are there aren't actually. What if they weren't so bad? What if they just like play around with it, right? as like a thought experiment, as a little magic experiment. We can always play these thought experiments just to see what happens, right? But what if we were to see our greatest obstacles sort of just dissolve a little bit, right? What if we just use the rainbow on them and think like, oh, hey, what if I could have everything that I want? You know? And that's a really fun thing that you can do with, you know, when you're playing around with manifestation, and when we have, you know, Uranus brings sudden changes. It can happen very, very quickly. So when we've got Venus in good aspect with Jupiter, and Jupiter is always like the energy that I use, like in a magical practice, for example. Whenever it is, whenever like for wishes, you know, I shouldn't say whenever, but just like Jupiter, whether you're working on Jupiter day or working with Jupiter energy, it can help you just like get what you want. It can help you, I don't know. It's like I feel this energy in me, but I'm having a hard time explaining it at this moment. So I don't know how much of you really have much of like a spellcraft practice, so I won't get that crazy into that. But, you know, when you want to manifest things, be really, really specific. And this is really cool. Like right now, this new moon kicks off the Lunar New Year. And I don't know too huge amount about this, right? Because it isn't really from my culture, but I do know that like as far as Chinese astrology is concerned, we're going into the year of the water tiger. And I don't know too terribly much about it, but I am sort of like leaning into that energy and feeling what that is like, and I'm finding it really, really cool, just sort of what I'm feeling from it. But there's this idea like it's a whole new cycle, you know, and really we can do this in our lives all the time, you know, like time, the way we view it is mostly a construct, so we can start a whole new cycle whenever we want, right? But for the heck of it, wow, it's a whole new cycle starting, you know? How can we make use of this energy and like put it towards our goals, right? Because Capricorn is very goal oriented, Saturn is quite goal oriented, but this whole combination, I feel like there's a certain expansiveness to it, you know? Like, yeah, it feels like there's an expansiveness to it, which is really cool, which is something that I feel like is going to be an energetic that's around a lot this year, because we have Jupiter meeting up with Neptune, and Jupiter expands, Neptune dissolves. Like, things are gonna be real different, I feel like, but not in like, that's a statement that could be applied to like the past 2 years, you know, like things have been really different, but like I think there's just gonna be such a sweetness to it. Well, at least you're like holding up to your name. Hi, creep. Anyway, I feel like there's gonna be a sweetness to it, right? Like Discord signatures were all over the past 2 years, and yeah, things were really different, but I think this year, especially if we work at it and we like niggle into it a little bit and work with the energy, like we can dissolve a lot of the structures that we've had, right? And when we look at how this will apply to our personal lives, this could be like structures of beliefs, structures of, what's the word I'm thinking of? You know, just like walls that have been holding you in. Maybe they're not, maybe they're not actually that big of a deal. Maybe they are not as strong of walls, as stark of setbacks, as hard, fast rules, right, as you think they are. So just something to think about as we move forward into this year. Let's do a little bit of tarot. This is fun. I kind of like this format better. Do you guys like this format better? Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna get the rainbow going again just for a second here. All right. Yes, I have creep. Okay, so today we're gonna ask the cards. Okay. This is the first one to pop up. The Empress, right? So this is very much about what we were doing at the end of this meditation. This idea that we can draw what it is that we want in towards us. That we can open ourselves up to receive more, you know, and that's something that could perhaps need a little bit of expansion or dissolving, or just like supersonic fucking rainbow healing. Do you feel like you aren't able to say yes to things? Do you feel like you aren't able to accept gifts, accept compliments? Like, how does your nervous system react when you're complimented? Are you able to be like, oh yes, like, are you able to accept that? Or are you like, oh no, like, not even a compliment, you know? Like, what if someone's like, oh, I want to buy you dinner, you know, someone that you like actually enjoy their company, of course, you know, are you automatically like, oh no, like contraction, constriction, I can't accept that, I can't say yes, you know? Like, what if we were to soften those boundaries a little bit, you know, keep our little magic barrier going so that we're not just picking up things that you know, don't belong to us, that we don't want, just drawing anything in, keeping that magic barrier up to keep us protected, but also being like, okay, now that this barrier is up, that I have a little protection from just being a little sponge all the time, right? What if I now start to open it up a little bit and allow more good things in? Okay. All right, Tarot, are there any other things, any other barriers that might be coming up for anyone who's watching this that might seem like barriers that maybe they're not? Like, how could we dissolve these a little bit, you know? Traveling across time and space, whoever might be watching this at a later time. Okay, now we got it. All right, so we got the Moon card here. No creep, no, you cannot. Okay, so we have the Moon card. This is very often this can represent a choice a lot of the times, and it's interesting here. Okay, so on the Moon card, we have a dog, and we have a wolf, and we have a lobster, okay? So lobsters are kind of cool because they actually have the capacity, like if someone was to, my husband jokes about this, if someone was to like take a lobster and sort of caretake for it forever and make sure to help it molt its shell when it gets so big that it like has a hard time molting its shell, it could conceivably be like almost immortal, apparently. So this is kind of interesting that there's these 3 parts on this. Like this, that makes me think of this soul, this part of us that like travels throughout incarnation, throughout time, you know, it travels with us. And then we have the wolf, right? It's this like animal side of us that, you know, wants to like run and eat and fuck and, you know, just experience life, you know. And then there's the dog, which is, you know, more the loyal friend, the domesticated, the, you know, part of us that needs to like keep up with the Joneses a little bit, perhaps. And, you know, given the context of this question, it might feel like how can we reconcile all 3 of these parts of us? This part of us that's like living in a material world, having to like go and do the things. This part of us that is a soul that travels with us from, you know, time and place, body to body, that is just like higher wisdom, some sort of mission, you know. And then this part of us that is just sort of like animalistic, that wants to experience life and you know, run under the moon and just enjoy all of the things that are here to enjoy on this earth, in this earth realm, you know. How can we reconcile all 3 of those? They're all a part of us, and that's okay. You know, it is accepting that they're all a part of us that brings us into wholeness, you know. And maybe you don't need to make a choice between one or the other. Maybe you need to allow more expansiveness for all of those parts to coexist within you, right? Because this is what happens. This is how we create shadow aspects of ourselves, when there's parts of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge, and we push them aside and we push them aside, and we think that they're like not an issue anymore, but really they're just operating like little unsupervised children in our subconscious. We do not want this, okay? We don't need to make a choice between the 3. We need to find a better way to integrate all of them. And then we have the Hermit. This... yeah, okay, so in the context of the question, you know, we're looking at barriers that maybe they're not barriers. Maybe you feel like you just want to like go off and be alone. And maybe you feel like you can't possibly do that for some reason, or it makes you broken in some way, or it's not a way to have a fulfilling life. Fuck it, go try it anyways. You know, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't that big of a deal. You know, this could also be like, maybe you feel like you have been a hermit for so long, you feel like you don't really know how to talk to people. Like, if people knew you, they wouldn't even like you, or something like that. Or maybe you have a lot of social anxiety. You know, I used to have an intense amount of social anxiety. I remember in high school, I would like skip classes because I just like couldn't enter the room because I was afraid of like people looking at me. I went through periods of time where like I couldn't work because my panic attacks were like so crazy. And I've come a really far way since then. And at this point, what I've really realized is that like all of the weird things about me that I was afraid of sharing with people, the things that I was like absolutely convinced were the reasons why people were the reasons that gave me anxiety and made me feel like I wasn't fit to be with other people, Like, those are actually the things that people find the most interesting and like create actual real conversations with other people, you know? So what would it be like if you could, if this is something that you're feeling, you know, you feel like you can't really connect with others? Okay, if this is true, pull this up, you know, pull this up in your body. Where do you feel it? Let's breathe into it. Let's just like purify that a little bit. Let's feel it dissolve. Let's feel it dissolve. Let's feel that anxiety seep away. Let's feel safety in your body. Okay. And I feel the need to repeat too also. Maybe this isn't about social anxiety at all. Maybe this is you know, you feel like you need to be a part of some sort of community, but really you just want to like spend your time doing your thing, gathering your information, right? This is a Virgo card, and like Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Maybe you just want to like go out and communicate with the trees. Maybe you just want to spend time with the earth. Getting into like a little routine of your own habits, like in the middle of fucking nowhere, and you feel like, oh no, you couldn't possibly. Well, why not? You know, why the fuck not? Try it. Okay. Oh, we got one more. Knight of Swords. Maybe you feel like you can't move quick enough. Like you're running out of time. Like you need to be able to go and do it. You know, you need to go. You need to figure it out. You need to always sort of be on guard mentally. Oh, what if you didn't? Right? What if we were actually able to just call in exactly what the fuck you want and draw it to you? And pull it in and bring it to you, right? Instead of having to rush to get it. What if you were able to live in faith, right? Jupiter, this is a big Jupiter topic too, faith. What if we were able to live in faith that this thing that you want will actually look for you if you put it out there, you know? It'll come to you, it'll find you. You know, and you're not running out of time. What if we were to dissolve this idea of feeling rushed? Okay, like we have all the time in the world. We don't necessarily need to make a sudden choice. We can just put it out there, what it is that we're looking for, and allow it with ease to find us. Okay, is there any tools at our disposal that everyone who's watching this? Okay. 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 All right, you got to find that balance, right? This isn't about like suddenly jumping off and running places and needing to make a decision right now, okay? It's about finding that balance. It's about finding that ease, finding that balance between all of these parts of ourselves that we were talking about already, you know, this like soul part, this domesticated part, this wolf wild part. It's about bringing them into balance, okay? We got the Knight of Cups. This is the Grail Knight, right? This is how we satisfy that soul part of us, that little lobster bit. There's some sort of mission that we have. There is some sort of special treasure, right? This gold that we're talking about, there's some sort of treasure that we are after, okay? And we need to have the faith that we will be able to get there, and we need to keep on searching. We got the High Priestess. Okay, we got to nourish ourselves. We got to be open to our intuition, open to our feelings, the information and data that come to us through our feelings, through that inner knowing. If you have a hard time telling the difference, you know, fear is loud. Intuition is usually quite quiet. It's like the little whispers, the little like, hey, oh, hey. You know, it doesn't usually have that like rushed, panicked feeling. Usually it's just a voice, and getting used to listening to that voice and being able to like hear it and have it be a part of the conversation more often is just like a muscle to work out. You know, it's a practice, and as you practice, it'll become easier. Ace of Cups. We are on the start of some sort of emotional journey, right? Be willing to be at the start of it. Be willing to open yourself up like a little fucking teenager falling in love for the first time, you know, with the idea of possibilities, of just like magic ahead of you. We're just at the start, okay? So hold that energy of like the start of some sort of like magical emotional journey, and allow that energy to flow into your life. Then we got the Six of Swords. What do we got? Look, there's this little boat. There's people in the boat. They're just boating away. They're boating on to this little, in here it's some sort of like structure, right? But they're sailing away to a place perhaps they don't know where they're headed really, but they are leaving, and they are getting on the journey, and they are moving towards it, and they are leaving these like troubled waters behind. At times, you know, there's like, depends on the deck that you have, but like often this is like a mother and a child in the boat, and then there's this little boatman boating them along. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. If there's something that you need that isn't in your wheelhouse, don't be afraid to talk to other people, connect with them, you know, find an expert, or even just like another person. Maybe you need to, like, we have so many cups and intuition kind of stuff coming up. Maybe this is just a trusted friend, you know, a trusted friend who you can talk to, who you can say what's in your heart, and they'll be able to hear it and like guide you a little bit in a safe way. And then we have Judgment. This in the Crowley deck is known as, wait, is that true? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. Anyways, Judgment, like, it's this sort of like new echelon. It's making, like, I'm thinking of like the trumpets coming out of the clouds a little bit, and like heralding a new time, a new year of the tiger, a new era, but you know, there's lots of like angel on this particular deck anyways. There's like angel symbolism a little bit, and like with everything that we've been talking about a little bit, like how can you use your higher judgment a little bit to up level yourself into a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of thinking, so that perhaps these obstacles that you have been surrounded with for a long time are just like no longer on your level, you know? You can step up to the next story. I got the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups and the Six of Swords, I find they come together a lot of the time. And You know, both of them. We got this one. We got the boat leaving. We got this one, the person turned away, walking away, you know, bundled up for a journey. You know, both of them speak to moving on a little bit. You know, with the swords, it's more mental. With the cups, it's more emotional. But there is a feeling here of like you can move on, you can journey away if you feel like you need to start some sort of a new journey. Like that's the thing about journeys, it's the thing about everything, you know, the wheel. There is no actual like start or beginning to the wheel. In order to like start a journey, you often have to like end something else, and that's okay. And the Eight of Cups a little bit can talk about that like little space of that emotional space of like having to leave something behind a little bit, whereas the Swords is when we're mentally on board and we're like, oh yeah, I got this. Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's get in the boat. See ya, you know? But then the Eight of Swords is, especially this card, I find it has like a little bit more of a heavy feeling to it. You know, we're setting off on somewhere new, but we're having to leave something behind emotionally in order to do it. And it's okay to like take a little bit of space if you need to feel a little bit of grief there. And as you go on your journey, you know, let the air flying through your hair, on your skin, lighten that grief as you keep walking, you know. And then we got the Ten of Pentacles. You know, we're talking about the Grail Knight. We're talking about this like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Ten of Pentacles is very much, you know, and this is in the material sort of way, and it is, you know, it's a very like classically sort of like Capricorny sort of vibes. Ten of Pentacles is like achievement in the earth realm, you know, and it's got this like sort of like patriarch with his wife and his dogs chilling in this like estate. You know, when you're thinking about your like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, what do you want to like, where do you want to be when you are old? When you look back on your life, what do you want to see? What do you want to have there, right? That's the sort of like end game that you want to think of when you're thinking about this like Grail quest, this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like, what is it that you imagine being old and can look around and be like, oh, I made it. This is success. What does success mean to you, right? These are questions that are big Capricorn themes. Capricorn likes to leave a legacy, you know, and there's a very kind of ancestral vibe with the Ten of Pentacles too. But yeah, just like what does success mean to you? Define that, and then draw that in, use that as a sort of base to be what you're pulling in, what you're allowing into your magical barrier. And then Eight of Wands, you know, what if we were to believe that it can happen quickly, that it can happen swiftly, that it can just rush at you, you know? This feels like the same but totally opposite energy of the Knight of Swords, whereas in this Knight of Swords it's giving me vibes of like trying to rush towards something. Nah, what if you were to just like sit in your throne and be like, this is what I'm available for, and have it rush you? What if that was just possible? All right, let's see if there's any final thoughts, and apparently there is. Oh, Three of Pentacles. you know? While you embody this energy, just like slowly but surely keep building your nest, keep working on your little projects, keep keep building whatever it is that you're building. Keep just working at it, find some people that want to help, maybe a little community that might want to get together and help you on your little projects, and just keep building your nest. That's something that I always bring up whenever Capricorn energy is in play. Want to know how you get to the mountain? How you get up it? One step at a time. A little tiny bit every day adds up real quick, So don't stress. Don't panic. You got your magical barrier up. Maybe you need to tend to it a little more often and actively bring it up yourself when you need to. You don't gotta pick up everyone else's energy. You don't gotta pick up just the world's energy right now. It's fucking wild out here, y'all. You don't gotta download all of that into your system. You can put that magic barrier up and be like, okay, inside of here, this is me. This is my energy, so I can actually feel my energy and not just sponge up everything, right? We get that barrier up, and there's some ease there. There's some grace in our hearts. There's a lifting off of our shoulders, and from that place, from there, we can start to say yes. We can start to draw in the things that we want, that we are available for, and maybe, just maybe, if we just tend to our own business, we take care of everything we gotta take care of, we are patient, and we have faith, maybe it could just fucking come at us like that, So that's something to consider, and that's the sort of energy that I want you guys to hold in your heart tonight. Hold that in your heart. What sort of manifestation would you like to draw in on this Capricorn new moon, when it is a beautiful time to bring dreams and fantasy into actual form, right? On this Lunar New Year, year of the tiger. So that's what I have to say for you guys all tonight. I'm going to put some links down below if you want to get my semi-regular updates about astrology. I have some pretty, oh yay, I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for tuning in live. I do some writing. If you're interested in those, I'll put some links down below. You can sign up for my newsletter. They sort of tend to run quite inspirational. And I'm also going to be launching a course really, really soon. So if you want to learn how to speak astrology too, that's going to be available really soon. And I've got a brand new website coming and all sorts of exciting things. But in the meantime, I love you all. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this to the end. I appreciate you. I will be doing this every Monday at around 9:30 Mountain Standard Time, so tune in. And I hope you all have a fabulous new moon.